No, I just picked you all up. No, why are you falling off? Stop! Hi, friends, and welcome to my not sewing vlog. My sewing room is in a state of flux, a state of transition, a state of I'm trying to clean you up. Can you just try? Can you just try a little bit? I have started trying to do a little bit every day because it's all overwhelming. My house is overwhelming. My sewing room is super overwhelming. So instead, I've given myself like small tasks to do every day, or hey, you have a certain amount of time to get like, an hour to clean up this area of the sewing room, or you have an hour to do to fold and put in their proper place all these fabrics, type of thing. So it's working well. I think I'm actually getting things done, and very slowly but surely the sewing room is coming back to a place of peace and usefulness. I'm also hunting for some patterns that are just, I need to learn not to pull things out and then just put them places. Hello, my friends. It's not going to be a long video. I know I say that sometimes and that it is, but this is not going to be a long video. This is just a quick catch up. I realize it's been like a month. Let me tell you, the stress from planning and getting everything ready to run the ball event in Port Townsend the weekend of the Victorian Heritage Festival, as well as having out-of-town friends coming in and trying to manage all of that, as well as the costuming that I needed to get done and all of that. It was a lot. It was a lot, and I got very overwhelmed. It didn't help that from the very beginning of me planning this this event, I had one out of my group of friends that was like, anything I can do to help from the very beginning. My friend Kelsey was on it. She's like, what can I do? How can I help you? What do you need? Very, very beginning. No one else was, I had no other help, you guys. It was just me. My friends, I had to beg them for advice and opinions, but no other help. I got some very last minute day of help offers that just, we're not gonna go there. We're gonna skip that conversation completely. Anyway, so the closer it got to the weekend of the ball and VicFest, just the more stressed out I got, the more anxious I got, the more the night before I was up all night sewing. Did not go to bed at all. No sleep, no nothing, up all night sewing. And I had my friend come into town that night, and because I had ball stuff everywhere, I had not been able to clean up the sewing room and stuff, I paid to put her in a hotel that night. And then I was trying to wrangle everything, and she was so sweet and offered to rent a car to pick up my other friend who was flying in that day, and that they would drive themselves up. And I was like, no, I had this plan. I'm taking care of you guys. I'm getting this done. And she was like, no, you need to take care of what you need to take care of. We are going to drive ourselves up. And I am so grateful that they offered that. So we were able to head out, and get up there and get into the venue, which was this beautiful historic chapel at Fort Worden. Beautiful wood, big windows, just big floor area for dancing, gorgeous. And immediately start setting up. We had to get tables set up. We had to pull the chairs out. Then there was putting the linens on the tables and the decorations and draping things up and putting batteries into, I think 60 electric candles and then putting those candles out and then getting just getting everything set up. It was a lot, and there were 3 of us. Handsome hubby came up to help, and then my friend Kelsey, who was offering to help. And then near the end, my friends who had come into town from out of town drove in because one of them was flying in midday. So they drove into town and came right over to help. And that was so sweet of her. And that was all stressful and crazy. And then I got ready for the ball in the bathroom at the venue. So I have like curling irons on this tiny little sink, and I'm like I go to put my ball gown on. And if you've looked at my Instagram, you've seen my big white satin ball gown with they're these very pale lavender sleeves with this embroidered organza overlay and black lace. Anyway, it was too big, like crazy too big. I don't know how that happened. I made like 5 different mock-ups. It was too big. It was too big. So I had to borrow safety pins, and handsome hubby had to like fold it over in the back and safety pin, up underneath so you can't really see them, safety pin the back down. But, even with it closed more in the back, it just looked so huge on me. I don't know what happened. Welcome to the life of being a sucky seamstress. But it was okay. It worked. The train was a disaster. The pattern I used for that skirt, I could not figure out, like, adding in this train section, and then I ended up with this huge fabric bubble on one side that just got like pulled up into it was so awful. And also, I totally forgot, even though I reminded everybody else, I totally forgot to add like a little attachment or something so I could pull the train up when I was dancing. So the train got stepped on. It was in the way. It was ugly. I hated it so much. It's like Mrs. White in Clue. Flames on the sides of my face. So at the end of the night, I pulled out my Sharpie and just had everyone sign my train, because I'm never wearing this again. I think I'm going to cut that section of the train out and hang it on my wall to remember my first ball and first Washington event that I've ever done. The bodice, with some work, could probably fit better, and I have more of that fabric, so I could make a whole nother better fitting, different pattern skirt to match it. So the ball was it was well attended. I sold 41 tickets. 18 of those people did not attend. I don't know why, or there was a huge accident that like knocked out the bridge the day before, or didn't knock it out, but like the main bridge like it caused huge traffic jams and stuff. So I wonder if some people were just like, never mind, we're not even going up for the weekend. But yeah, 18 people didn't show up, which, kind of a bummer. It was very nice of them to buy tickets, but didn't show up. But the people who did show up were gorgeously dressed, and we had a great time. I did make one error in my calculations, as I was doing research for the 1890s, I discovered that there were very few group dances happening at that point. It was mostly couple dances like the waltz or the two-step or the continental or the bear claw. Um, and so I had planned music and whatnot, and that music didn't actually make it down with me. So we had to scramble for music, and I had to cast it from my phone. So I have very few pictures of the event because I had to use my phone. Craziness, people, craziness. But we got music going, and I discovered that you can't just rely on people to know what the dances, the couple dances, are going to be from that era, especially when most people, when they go to a historical dance, they're expecting group dances. That's where everyone dances together. Either, you're dancing with your partner, and but with everyone else, or you're dancing with your partner, and then you might end up, moving away from your partner during the group dance. But because I'd read about how those were no longer popular in the 1890s, I had not really planned. I'd only planned like 2 of those for the night. So, and there was a lot of standing around while the music was playing because people were like, do we waltz? And I was like, this one's a 2-step. And people are like, what's that? So there were some miscalculations. I have called historical dances before, and they've always been earlier period historical dances. So things are going to be different in the future. All in all, it was a great night. We have this beautiful rainbow dress picture that someone said that we should do, where we lined all the ladies up in their dresses and took this beautiful, because we had just like every color of dress. It was so pretty. And at the end of the night, probably the last 20 minutes of the night, there was just a few of us there, and we just started taking requests. And we had this couple who could waltz to anything. So they were waltzing to like all sorts of modern songs. It was really cool. People traveled from long distances to come to this ball. I thought it was really neat. It ended up being a really great night, and a bunch of people stayed to help clean up, which was awesome because we were able to clean up and get out of there, which was great. I had not even been to my hotel room. Hadn't even checked in, hadn't even been to my hotel room. Got to bed. A handsome hubby drove all the way back home, 2 hours, all the way back home, so that George would not be all alone that night, because handsome hubby is amazing and awesome. The next day, Saturday, is usually my absolute favorite day of the Victorian Festival. There are walking tours and lectures and get photos taken, and you get to shop at the little shops along, and food and all the stuff. And we got up and went and had breakfast, and then ran over to this antique shop for a little bit, and then ran back to get dressed. And I made the mistake of saying, I'm going to lay down and take a nap for like 20 minutes. 4 or 5 hours later, apparently my roommate tried to wake me up, and I was just like, no. And I just crashed. I completely crashed. I needed it desperately. I needed to crash, but I just wish that I hadn't missed out on my favorite day. I was going to wear my 1830s green dress that I kind of fixed up and made it fit better, and I made this beautiful white pelerine to go over it, and I covered my hat, and I was all ready to run around town in it, and I missed the fashion show that a bunch of my friends were in. I missed everything because I was just fast asleep, completely gone. And I woke up that late afternoon, And everyone was like, well, do you want to go to the dance tonight? And I thought about it, and I bought tickets because I wanted to support the Victorian Festival. They do a contra dance on Saturday night. And I was like, I just don't think I can do it. I don't think I can try and dress up and be like, oh, yay, so fun, when I am just still so, ugh. So instead, a couple of us who bought tickets, but we were all tired. We got food instead. And I heard the contra dance was fun, but it is very overrun by like families with kids and whatnot. And so I got some great feedback from people saying they were so grateful that there was like a ball, a specific event that's just for adults that had a a dressing theme, so that everyone was like dressed in the same Victorian era, type of theme, and that they really love that. And I've gotten lots of feedback that people would really like this to continue. So I am looking at doing the ball again next year, and I'm trying to decide which of the eras within the Victorian era, I don't know what to call them, the different dressing, my brain's not working. Anyway, decades, I guess, would kind of work, because, the 1830s is basically when Victoria became queen, and it's kind of the beginning of the Victorian era. So there's the 1830s, complete style of dress. 1840s, different style of dress. 1850s, mid 1850s to mid 1860s, big hoop skirts. Late 1860s, the big elliptical skirts and transition bustles. 1870s, early 1870s to late 1870s is the first bustle era. Late 1870s to mid 1880s is the natural form era. Late 1880s to mid 1890s is the second bustle era. And then you've got the 1890s, and then there's turn of the century, which kind of fits with 1890s as well, I feel, but you never know. So there's a lot to choose from. I do want to stay within the Victorian era between like 1830 and 1903, I think it was. Somewhere within there. So one of these dresses. So I've narrowed it down to two of those kind of decades, and I'm going to take some time, fill it out, decide what I want to do. The Sunday of Victorian Festival, got up, got dressed, went to breakfast, went to tea at the beautiful Landis House mansion, this historical house that has been beautifully renovated in bringing back its beautiful Victorian style by this lovely couple. This house was amazing. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to take pictures inside the house, but the house was stunning, absolutely stunning. I got so many ideas. For example, we were in their second sitting room, and she said this is where they like to spend most of their time and watch TV and whatnot, and had this beautiful, big, soft Victorian sofa and whatnot. And I'm looking around this room, this beautiful Victorian room, beautifully decorated, going, watch TV? What is she talking about? And she showed me how they have the original mantle for the fireplace. And then they brought in a master carpenter and had him match the style. And he built in this cupboard above it. And when you open the doors, like hinge in the center, there are TVs inside that. And it's just such a great idea for hiding your modern electronics in your historical house. And then the kitchen. Oh my gosh, I wish I could have like pictures of the kitchen. They had this cute little hidey hole spot for the microwave. The refrigerator had an outer facade that made it look like a tall ice box, like a traditional Victorian ice box. It just, this house was amazing. The tea was delicious. Company was divine because there were only 8 spots at tea, and 7 of them were me and my friends. And the 8th spot was a lady we didn't know who is now a new friend. So, Victorian Festival was delightful and lovely overall. I definitely have regrets about not enjoying Saturday. I look forward to the VicFest every year, and so I'm like, oh man. But I have plans, and I've written tons of notes on how to pace myself, how to do my planning, and how to make sure that next year I am so prepared and that I can both be ready and prepped and do the ball, but also enjoy the Victorian Festival and not get like so stressed out and so crazy and shut down like I did this year. So that was VicFest for me. I've basically been working and also recouping this last week. And I am kind of hosting, just a little outing. I'm falling. I'm fine. Sorry, my foot is cramping. Sorry. Ow. 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 Do your feet ever cramp? It's just like, ow. I'm trying to work it out. My foot started cramping, and I was trying not to, I don't know what I was trying to do, but I started falling over. I'm fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. How are you? You good? You good? Okay, good. I've always wanted to make a chemise à la reine, which is the late 18th century chemise inspired gowns. There's a famous story about it being inspired by Marie Antoinette because she wanted to have a simpler life, and she had her little petite palace that she'd go to, and she'd pretend to be a shepherdess or whatever, and she, wore these chemise dresses to be more simple, and she purposely made sure that they were made out of like cottons and linens and whatnot, because she wanted them to be the not the rich fabrics, the simpler, earthy fabrics. This may be true, but I've also read some studies about how the style was also brought in from the Americans who lived, not the Americans, I just said the Americans, not the Americans, the white people who lived out on the islands, like in Jamaica and whatnot, where they were so not used to the heat. There's apparently a lot of proof that the same styles of dress were adopted out there to help combat the heat. The light cotton white gowns, especially in the white, and there's journals, there's paintings and stuff that all came out before the famous painting of Marie Antoinette in her chemise à la reine. So, however you want to believe it came about. And there are some examples in art of some colored chemise à la reines, and some of them that have like colored uh, slips behind the white chemise à la reine. But the most popular at the time was white, pure white. It invokes, you know, the beautiful white chemises that women wore. It's part of the both look of innocence and the allure of the boudoir. You know, something about the white chemises, and you can find so many paintings from the 17 like 80s and early 90s, of women in these beautiful, beautiful white chemise gowns, with the big hedgehog hairdo, and often with giant straw hats. These giant straw hats. So I put together a picnic outing, a chemise à la reine picnic outing, in June. So next month. I don't know if anyone's going to come, but I think it would be so fun to just have a bunch of us lounging about on blankets with our picnics in our chemise dresses at a at a beautiful park with flowers and whatnot, and maybe playing some lawn games, strolling about the park, smelling the flowers. I mean, I think it would be so fun. I have offered to bring dessert to, entice people to come. We shall see. I have 2 other sewing projects in the works that, I don't know why I do this to myself. I don't know why I do this to myself, but I'm doing it. I have 2 other sewing projects in the works that I am working on currently. So, on top of that one, and I am trying to find my pattern that I want to use for my chemise à la reine. It is somewhere, preferably in this room where I will stumble across it easily, but who knows. So that is my update for now, and I will, I'm planning to do more updates later this week. You know me, that may or may not happen, but I'm really sorry for a month of incommunicado. Thank you, as always, my friends, for being friend followers and just being part of my sucky seamstress community of sewers who just have a hard time. And we're just trying to bolster each other. That's basically all this is. We are here for each other. I'm here for you. And I love your comments and when you're here for me. So let's keep that up, and let me know what you're working on. If you're making a chemise à la reine, let me know. Come to my picnic. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.